So he's going to give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and we'll be singing pickups to J.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
I think another important thing to say is that the two of the worst, most egregious things you can do in like count basis style music is be early to the beat and drag. And I think we're doing both things in different spots. So imagine if Joel, why don't this time you just give us a hi-hat. Just imagine like sitting on the beat. So every time you hit a beat, every beat's important. This is a real 4 on the floor kind of music. So imagine just each note's sitting right on the beat. Do 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 do. So we're really feeling that. Put it on feel. Here's sing again, pickups to letter J. A 1.
Is that the tempo? 1, 2, 3?
That's it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Cool, let's play a little bit. Joel, count us off.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We need to aim more for really committing to the swing feel and to the groove of the entire horn section, rather than just, I'm playing the right note at the right time. The time is very, very important, but also the inflection with these things. So, for instance, on the long notes, the very first one, right at J, boo-ba-doo-ba, a lot of us are hitting it and playing it really loud the whole time, and then we're late to the beat 4 or the end of 4. And people that come in 2 right on J, we're playing that kind of loud, so singing it kind of loud, and then we're late to that beat 4. So once you hit the long note, as the great Bob Lark would say, back off 5%, back off 10%, hit it, get a little softer, and really focus on nailing that that next beat. Can we also move the saxes? Can you come in this way a little bit, and J come in this way a little bit? All right, let's try one more time, starting at J. Get the sustained notes a little softer when you're there, and then accent the notes that have written accent, especially. So just pick up to J.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Section part, how much different that is than the other notes. When they have an accent, they're really committing to the volume of that accent, and I think it really helps dig into what Joel's doing. They're playing with good time also, and great sounds, and sustaining the right amount, but those accents are so essential to really get those right anticipated swing feelings in this music. Let's hear now the brass stabs at letter K. If you just have ba, 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 da, do, da, just that right at letter K, and it'll be Joel in the brass section.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Chris, you were like perfectly still when you're playing, which is maybe good for your trombone technique, but it's probably not really good to telegraph the time of the rest of the section. So if you can just get, you don't need to bounce on every beat or like flap your arms like you're trying to fly away, but if you just kind of give, especially before an entrance, a little breath and maybe a little nod, I think it's going to help clean up across the section. And second of all, if I said which notes were accented, do you think anyone could be like, oh, it was this note, obviously? Was it different, really? You're pretty vanilla across the board. So there's certain notes that Quincy Jones, or I assume Manos Hadjikakis, wrote in there specifically to say these ones I want accented. So I think he was pretty deliberate about where he wants those accents. So if you guys can pop those like I don't know, a trillion% more. I think it would help. So let's try one, same thing, trombones and drums, right, okay.
1, 2, 4.
So even on the first note, you have the chance to give a breath and like really telegraph to your section. Not necessarily to everyone in the world, but just to the 4 of them. This is where the first note comes in, and we would kind of rag it in the first instance. Try it again. Just give them a few breath.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, that didn't work. First of all, there's an accent on the first note. Second of all, we need all of our lead players breathing, kind of telegraphing that first entrance, so the first sound for the band is like, you know, right together.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Cool. There's a lot of moments even singing. That was nice. A lot of moments even singing that we're rushing the downbeats, especially after a rest. So brass in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th bar, you've got an entrance on beat 4, and a lot of you were early by maybe a 16th note. Maybe even not that much, but you don't want to be early to any of these notes, and you don't want to let it drag. You just have to be perfect. It's not, you know, it's easy said than done. Let's try one more time singing, and we're going to play.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry to stop you. In that third measure, everyone's got that unison beat 2. You see what I'm talking about? And it's got that gliss down to it. It's fine if somebody hits the gliss early, but I think some of us were actually arriving to beat 2 early. So don't rush through that smear sound, and make sure you arrive right at the downbeat of beat 2. Let's try it one more time, and I promise we'll play.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, we're going to play now, but still some brass players rushing to beat 3 and measure 6. Let's try playing it now. Just be super conscious of sitting on that beat, sitting on the time, and rhythm section be really aggressive with the beats. Mess them up.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
First of all, Jake and Tom, you guys sound excellent. The time and the sound and the blend is really outstanding. I think it adds a lot to the section playing. There's in the very first section here at letter A, and this obviously happens, I think, almost a verbatim recap at the end of the piece. Who's got the melody here? Yeah, who else has the melody?
Trumpet.
Which trumpet?
4.
That's close. Trumpet 3. It's hard to hear from behind you. Yeah, it's one of the ones over here. You know, one of those guys, or girls in this case. The chicks with the trumpet. They've got the melody. I think we're doing like an 80% good job of playing these section parts together. And it's impossible for you to do anything different and hear them, because there's no way in the world that she's going to be able to hear what you guys are doing. So this becomes really tricky, and Natalie kind of has to trust you to telegraph what's going on back there to her, so she can really play in this little section like this. I think it's careful that, or it's important that you were also like hyper focused on every note that he plays in this section. Especially sometimes I'm noticing trumpet players and saxophone players in the middle of these little turns or these technical passages. When you're focused on, well, obviously not totally thrown off by them. But when you're focused on the more technical stuff, we're starting to slip sometimes our embouchure. There's these moments in the middle of the phrase that we kind of get a whack intonation just for a couple notes, and the sustained notes sound great. So I think if we can focus a little more on like constantly being a section player, it might strengthen this melody. The second thing is trombones. If you can play half that volume with twice that articulation, I think this would be a lot more effective for saxophone. Trumpet's the same thing. When you come in at letter B and you add these little stabs, if you can hit the accents twice as loud and every other note twice as soft, I think this is going to make this a little stronger. Can we just hear one time rhythm section and brass players starting at A? So I want huge accents and then almost like hilariously soft other notes. Write it in. And give them 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they have time to process this.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Before we go on, can you describe what you're doing, if anything, to make it easier for them?
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good description. Certainly an accurate description. So just anything, I mean, try something wacky, and if you flap like a chicken or something and it looks terrible, then I'll tell you it looks terrible. But just attempt something, make some kind of breathing gesture or some kind of trombone-y gesture to make this really effective. Yeah. Let's try one more time, and then I'll let the trumpets play this time.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.